Hey guys, Dread being joined by Sapphire. This match is between Deth, the Blue Zerg, and Pinder, the Red Protoss. Now, this is Metalopolis, so Seph, what are we in store for?
Yeah, really surprising in game one that Deth took that against Pinder, who is a very high level Protoss in Australia and really well considered and very well decorated in the current King of the Hill Australasia champion. So really surprising to see Deth, who is a high level player himself, but he's a high level Terran player making this race switch across to Zerg. So I'm just impressed by how strong Deth's Zerg is right now. And he even played Zerg this weekend in the Australia vs New Zealand show match in his games against Reflex, and he was really strong there. So I'm really impressed. Most of the times when you see people make a race switch, it's there's a little bit of adjusting time and they try and get all the nuances, but Des adjusted really well. So he might even have some Brood War experience from Zerg, the way he's just transitioned across really well.
That's just, huge props. I guess if you're a good player, you can make do with another race and you'll just pick up the rest. If your macro is good enough and all that stuff, you can make up for it. But yeah, I'm curious to see what Deth has up his sleeve if he's new to Zerg, so it should be a good one.
Yeah, looking like a delayed build so far from Deth. He's coming in with a hasn't thrown down a spawning pool, looking like he's going from 14 pool, not opening with that aggressive gas. Meanwhile, Pinder has gone for this sneaky little forward ramp wall in, which it's okay on Metalopolis. We have seen this kind of wall in on Steps of War and can really make a huge problem for Protoss when they're putting their Sim City down, their expansion. But from the perspective of a Protoss player Metalopolis, you can funnel units into this little narrow alleyway in between the ramp and force a killing zone right next to this pylon, and it also protects your pylon a little bit, making units run around, just buys you that little extra couple of seconds, and at this level that makes all the difference in the world. So interesting little scouting maneuver there from Pinder. He only checks very briefly up the ramp, and if he picks up nothing then he pulls back, assuming there's no other information available to him. So nice from there. He's picked up on that Overlord coming past, so really good pick up on his scouting, and it looks pretty standard from Deth at this point, looking like he's going to throw down a reasonably timed expansion, although it's strange that he's going for that expansion before he gets gas, so it's a little bit dangerous, and he's even throwing down a Roach Warren, so interesting opening from Deth. Bit surprised at him thinking about that expansion, then seeing the scout and then switching into a Roach Warren, so a bit of a strange opening there from Deth, but we'll see how he adjusts.
Sneaky probe with this mineral trying to book us back to home, but these Zerglings are not going to catch it, so he's going to go home with the Chuckies here, so he'll be going home there. But so far just this bunch of these Zealots actually moving across the map now. There's 3 Zealots, so they'll try and cause some damage. There are not that many Zerglings on the field. I mean, it's only early, of course, but these Zealots should be okay here, but of course, Deth can really reinforce this very easily at home. Meanwhile, more roaches and more drones being made. So we'll have to see what Pinder can do here.
Yeah, it's a pretty early push for these Zealots coming. They're coming up the ramp now. He should be just fine with this amount of Zerglings, but he doesn't want to fight on that ramp. He wants to be able to get a good surround off and try and drag the fight towards his queen. Roach coming in now, so he's really going to be just fine for this push, and Pinder needs to be really careful he doesn't lose too many Zealots from this. The first one probably going to go down here, and if nothing else, he was probably trying to contain Deth a bit, but he's got a surround off. Deth's got a nice surround on these Zealots. Only one Zealot left, losing his Zerglings, but that's not too bad of a loss, and he needs to move this Roach back, just might save it, and all the Zealots die, so not really much of a return on the investment of those Zealots there for Pinder, who is chrono boosting a bunch of Stalkers now, so he was using those initials Zealots to just try and contain him, but it didn't work too well, and Deth needs to be careful. This Overlord is toast. He's recognizing this, and he's actually turning it into a sacrifice Overlord. It's a bit of a mistake from Deth, so if nothing else, pushing out with those Zealots caused him to overlook his Overlord, which was still scouting, so that's a bit of a loss there for Deth, so it wasn't all that bad for Pinder. Something that attack has also done is we saw the shadow appear up of Deth's expansion, so Deth had actually laid his expansion and before those Zealots showed up, and that cancelled that. The drone had to turn around, and so it's just, I feel that Deth's build was aimed at getting that expansion a little bit earlier. He delayed that gas, got delayed pull to try and get that expansion reasonably on time, but he's been delayed a fair bit, and it's only just morphing in now. So interesting to find out how Deth's going to recover from that economically, because Pinder is at the same time getting his expansion online, and they're morphing in at pretty much the same point. So really, really close in economy here, and from a Zerg point of view, you want to start to pull ahead of a Protoss. So not sure how Deth's going to respond.
Yeah, it looks like Pinder was supply blocked for a while there, so it shouldn't hurt him too much, of course, because Deth is just expanding and just really looking to just fortify this expansion right now. But could be costly in the long run. But really, he's just got this expansion going, really getting a lot of these probes, you know, flooding into this in a couple seconds here. But really just warp gates being researched, a robotics facility going down. So we're looking to see some immortals, I assume, with so many roaches on the field. But yeah, it's just really both expanding, both really trying to keep these expansions, some spine crawlers being made. So we'll have to sit tight and see what's in store. The forge is going down, of course, for Pinder. So yeah, I should buckle up.
Yeah, really interesting move here by Deth. He got 3 extractors at the same time. The 4th one only just mining now with only 1 drone in that. So he's gone super gas heavy, and we are seeing a switch into mutas, which is would normally catch Pinder by surprise, but he's getting that observer out, so that's going to make a bit of a difference, and that observer's coming on the field now. So it's just going to be a case of whether or not he sees the Spire in time to go heavier on the Stalkers. He is getting this robotics base, so he was thinking about Colossi, but this switch is basically going to negate the Colossi, because he's going to be able to get Mutalisks, which is where that gas investment, I would assume, is heading, as well as Corruptors once he sees the robotics base. So I'm not sure what Pinder's response is going to be here. He's going to need to get more Stalkers. He has a few sentries, which will do pretty well against Mutalisks, but if with 4 Force extractors online and he commits all of his gas resources to these Mutalisks, then he can do some serious damage. So now we are seeing Pinder picking up on this Spire, so he's scouting absolutely great there, and thinking about pushing out as he just takes out this scout and just retakes the Zelnaga Tower. Another Overlord, and this one is going to supply block Deth. This is bad news for Deth, who is actually supply blocked. So that's a really bad mistake. Going to slow his production right down just as he was getting his Spire online and looking to pump Mutalisks out. So that's bad news for Deth, but he should recover pretty nicely. And also, from Deth's point of view, he's going to see this movement, and now he doesn't see that Pinder is actually retreating, so he's going to be thinking defensive mentality. He's going to think, damn, I've got an army on the move, I'm going to have to, you know, spawn out some units. He is getting his Mutalisk online now. I'd be curious to find out whether he pushes out immediately and goes to harass, or whether he's going to get more to try and defend from the push that he assumes is coming.
Pinder is really just laying on these gateways now, deciding to cancel the robotics bay the last second there. So he just really wanted those minerals. He really lost that at the last minute. He's pushing out with these Stalkers. This one Zealot going to get taken out, and he knows it's coming now with this proxy pylon at this gold expansion, so he's looking to at least try and keep the pressure on this expansion. Meanwhile, these Mutalisks going around the other side, so this will leave the expansion just with only the cannons to defend it. Should be okay. Oh, would the actual Mutalisks turn around and actually go for the pylon, so not interested in harassing. Meanwhile, the Zealots and Stalker army moving into the base here with these spine crawlers ready to defend.
Yeah, it's going to be caught a little bit out of position here for Deth. He really needs to bring those mutas back online. But that spine crawler picking off a stray Zealot there, so a little bit of a loss for Pinder, but not so much right now. His composition's pretty good to fight these Mutalisks. He's got to be careful because those sentries will go to work on those mutas, and Deth recognises this and pulls back. So a bit of a standoff right here. Pinder can't really break through this defensive position with these 2 spine crawlers out here, but with just pure Mutalisks as his main harassment force, Deth can't really break that force of Pinder. So I imagine Deth is sending his Mutalisks now looking to harass, while Pinder sends his own force just to make sure there's no cheeky expansion. So this might catch Pinder a little bit out of position. He's going to take out this proxy pylon, so the important thing is he's going to get that information, know those Mutalisks are there, and he's pulling his forces back while those Mutalisks are going for this pylon. I feel the Deth should probably have gone straight for the mineral line there, because then he could have picked up a few probes as opposed to just the single pylon. And there is cannons online here, so he's going to be in serious trouble. Nice placement again from